That's pretty much my schedule. So sometimes if I'm busy with the kids, I'll be up till 2, 3 a.m. just answering emails. I just try to work on my personal self, exercise every day, eat well, take care of my kids, work hard, and then the rest is up to God. It's all a matter of how much effort you put in, how much time you put in, and then luck sprinkled on top of that.
This is your Real Estate Syndication Show. I'm your host, Whitney Sewell. Today, our guest is Esther Rises. She's recognized by CREI, list as top 30 LinkedIn influencer in 2024, investor, capital raiser at Esther Rises and Company. She has a real estate license but just does a full spectrum in the real estate business as far as buying and selling, investing in many different asset classes, a wide range of just knowledge and experience in our industry. She just prides herself, which is amazing, just being a great mother and raising kids and raising money. And we talk about that a lot today and how she has done that, whether you're a busy professional or because you're a busy parent or trying to run a business. I hope you are encouraged today by Esther. Esther, welcome to the show. Honored to get to know you a little better. I know you and I maybe were at the same conference or speaking at the same conference or something not too long ago, and I remembered meeting you before, and I'm grateful to learn more about you and jump in today.
Thank you so much. Likewise.
Yeah. Well, Esther, you have no lack of things going on in your household, right? We're going to talk about some of those things today and how you've grown a successful business while being a busy mom as well, to say the least. So I just think it's so impressive, and I want to jump into that. But give us a little more about who you are, who Esther is, and Esther Rises Company, right? Just what you all do.
My name is Esther. I'm an investor and your capital connector. I raise money and I raise kids. That's what I do. So I'm an investor. We buy office, industrial, retail nationwide. And I primarily help people connect equity, whether it's JV, co-GP equity. And I've also started a private equity fund where I've syndicated several deals.
All while being a busy mom at the same time. Give us a little bit of the, I don't know, some details there on how you do that. Let's just jump in right there and being a busy mom. And I think there's somebody listening that will be able to relate to you, right? Whether it's being a busy parent or whatever they have going on, but man, you have no lack of things that, that you're being pulled for, or right, in many different directions. So how have you been a great mom but also being able to run a great business and scale?
So growing a big family, I've always enjoyed working. I'm also a speech language pathologist. I've worked in that field for many, many years. And one day I wasn't feeling fulfilled. So I decided to pivot. I mean, there were several reasons that I decided to pivot into a new career. It was after my 6th child was born, and he was born with a lot of speech related issues. He was in the hospital for a very long time. He actually had exactly things that I studied for. And I felt like after I was done dealing with him, I couldn't continue. I had also moved at the same time, and the system of speech language pathology was very different. But the biggest reason is that I'm a massive extrovert. I love meeting people and getting to know people. And as a speech language pathologist, working one-on-one with children was difficult for me. Although I enjoyed working and I enjoyed the results, and it was so great to see children that couldn't speak suddenly speak, or help them with their pronunciations or their pragmatic skills. But I was kind of dying inside, and I needed something that would make me feel fulfilled. So I figured, what can I do as a massive extrovert without having to go back to school? Because I have all these children, and it's just hard to go to school with a big family. So I dived into real estate, right? That's the easiest choice. Got my license as a salesperson, started transacting initially on the residential end, which I knew right away was not for me, but someone convinced me to, my broker over here. And then quickly dived into commercial and started transacting. And then one of my clients had asked me to help him find equity for a deal. And at the time, I knew nothing about raising equity, but I figured I'll do the guy a favor. I made a commission. Let me help the guy. So I made 2 phone calls, and I was able to find him an equity partner. That never happened again. It would never happen that quick again. But that kind of opened my eyes to the whole equity side of the business. And that's where I've been focusing most of my efforts on since. I've been raising money for deals that I've syndicated, whether I co-GP'd on those deals or came in as a fund to fund, or I've connected a lot of co-GP JV equity. That's what I do primarily. So I'm a realtor, an investor, and a capital raiser.
Yeah, that's incredible. Speak to the busy mother listening right now that dreams of having her own business. How would you encourage her to think, hey, you can do this even as a busy mother?
So I always tell people, it's a juggling act, right? When you juggle, hopefully more bowls go up than down, right? But some drop. We're human after all. We try our best. I always say my kids come first, no matter what. I've had to cancel many meetings for my children. Like yesterday, I drove like 6-7 hours just to go visit my kids in camp. So there went my work day. The kids always come first, but then there are no breaks. There's no time in between. There's no time for fun things. It's work around the kids. That's pretty much my schedule. So sometimes if I'm busy with the kids, I'll be up till 2-3 a.m. just answering emails. So if anyone gets an email from me at 2 a.m., it's because I was busy with my kids all day, or I just have an overload of work. So yeah, you have to be really, really committed. You have to really enjoy what you're doing, because some days are absolutely brutal in this industry. And also you're not getting, at least in my case, I'm not getting paid on salary. So I'm only getting paid commission based, if there is a successful outcome. So, it's all a matter of how much effort you put in and how much time you put in, and then luck sprinkled on top of that.
What keeps you motivated, like to keep going like that and to push that hard?
So I have a lot of self-motivation. I think that, I don't know how to explain it, but I'm extremely motivated as an individual in general. Maybe I'm super competitive within myself. Like I like achieving goals, and I don't stop. So I don't know, maybe it's just something that I inherited from my mama. She's like that too.
Let's talk about your how you started raising money, and maybe if you could tell yourself something back when you started raising money that now, what would that be? I don't know if I can give myself advice back then, because I think it was a little easier then actually. Now just, it's market related. It's a little tough right now. Has to do with the interest rates and the whole banking system. I think it's just, I don't know if I would give myself any different advice, because I think I went the right way. I did initially before I got, once I got started, initially I knew nothing, but once I started realizing that I know nothing, I started doing the research and speaking to a lot of SEC attorneys. And before I started my fund, I spoke to about 14 SEC attorneys. So I think I went about it the right way. I don't know, maybe I always think of like how I can better myself. Maybe like if I partnered with somebody that's also successful in this area, maybe together we can multiply, expand the whole business even greater. But I think it has to do with, the market right now. So it's a little slow now. It was easier in the past, but I don't know if I would give myself different advice. Yeah, no, good. How would you advise that person to start raising money now then, with what and with the way the market is?
So number one, always do your research. There's a lot of rules about raising money. It's a highly regulated industry. You want to speak to an attorney. Unfortunately, I speak to many individuals that are out there raising money, whether it's for their own deals or for other people. And there's a lot of gray area. It has to be done the right way. So that's one recommendation I can give. Just study the laws and know what you're doing. There's different rules for S506B or C, what you're allowed to say, what you're not allowed to say, what you're allowed to advertise, who you're allowed to raise from and when, etc. So that's one bit of advice. And right now, it's all about establishing a rapport with individuals so they get to know, like, and trust you, which is super important in this business, because as long as there's transparency, people will come and put money with you, even though, times are tough. Like, a few of the deals are a little slow right now. Not even market related stuff, like some other flukes. But if transparency is key in this business, and having the investors benefit ahead of my own is vital. And I do my best to do that.
Speak to the establishing rapport, how you've done that and how you even do that now.
So some people coined me as a serial networker. I like to network. I am an extrovert. I love meeting people and getting to know people. So for me, it's a little more natural to meet people. But it is important to maintain that relationship, which is often hard because I get to meet so many people. And just to maybe, whether it's, just sending out an email here and there, or just connecting on social media. It's hard to keep up with everyone, like, personally, but it's important to just be out there, let people know what you're doing, and be nice out there,
That's important for sure.
Yeah.
Just being nice. Well, how did you get that name? What is that? Where did that come from? That serial networker, I think you said.
I'm trying to remember who coined that. I don't know if it was Bigger Pockets. They were the one that coined raising money and raising kids. So that they get the credit there, but the serial networker one, I don't know who did it, but I like it. It suits me.
I noticed that I think LinkedIn's been a big focus for you, right?
Yes. Somehow my LinkedIn took off, and I get stopped in the street now from LinkedIn. People recognize me. I'm also trying to gain some traction on Instagram and Twitter, X. So LinkedIn has done me well. Speak to how you've used LinkedIn to maybe grow your network and to raise money. Maybe by oversharing. I feel like also, like, sometimes when you share, like, personal stuff, people get to know you. They get to see your family. On Instagram, I post a lot about my family. So I think, that helps a lot. They get to see who I am, what kind of life I live. They get to kind of know me. Like, people will come and say things to me. Like, sometimes I'll see bits and pieces. I don't post everything, obviously, but I do it intentionally so that I can be, as transparent as possible. People can feel like they know me and trust me. That's what I want.
Do you have a team or anybody that's helping you with, say, managing social media, or is that mostly you?
All me. I don't have anyone doing it.
I noticed on LinkedIn, I think I noticed you have it's almost like 35,000 followers. Speak to followers versus connections and maybe how you've done that.
So LinkedIn has a max of how many connections you can have. So at one point, I actually had to remove a bunch just to be able to, I removed a bunch of inactive people just in order to be able to connect with more active individuals. So I think if not for LinkedIn, if not for that limit, I would have had a lot more. I've noticed lately more people following me, which is interesting. I wonder what I did lately to have, like, in the last 2 weeks, I had another like 30, 40 people hop on. I don't even know what I did to do that, but it's all LinkedIn. I guess it's people post things that everyone can see. So, it just gets out there automatically with the algorithm. Although I feel like it's been suppressed a little bit. I feel like my posts haven't been gone out as much as they used to. So I got to figure that out.
Yeah. The LinkedIn, I feel like, is a great place to connect with the right people, right? Is there any strategy behind that? How do you connect with so many people per day, or how have you grown that?
No strategy whatsoever. My posting has no strategy. I don't follow any specific rules. I did join Yona Weiss's, what's it called? His
LinkedIn challenge or something?
Yes, yeah. LinkedIn challenge. I wonder if, I'm sure that's helped me in the past. But otherwise, like, I post whenever. I don't like when people post consistently. I I don't like to post for the sake of posting. Like if you have something to say that's substantial or you're in the mood of sharing, then go for it. I don't like the everyday posting at 12 p.m. kind of thing. It doesn't work for me. I think it's not as genuine.
Yeah. No, he's helped a lot of people get started on LinkedIn or get more serious anyway. He was like our third or fourth guest ever on the show. So it's been a long time ago, but
Wow.
yeah, I've known him for a long time. But well, let's jump into, I think you talk about your Indian services a little bit, right? And maybe you could walk us through a little bit of what that means. Your Indian services, just your team provides, what does that mean?
Yeah, so currently I'm only doing co-GP JV structures. So, so long as so I started this kind of as a hobby. I wasn't necessarily targeting a specific thing. It was like, let me see how this goes. So and then I started talking a lot, which I often do, and word got out that I raise equity. So people were coming to me. So I kind of raise equity for all assets of commercial real estate. As long as it's commercial, they have to be under contract or have a signed PSA, or have it locked up. And right now I'm only doing co-GP JV structures. So if they're willing to bring on a partner, then I'll take them on. Right now I'm having a lot of success in mobile home parks. I'm also partnering on some RV parks. We're doing gas stations, car washes, project-based affordable housing deals, any asset with a government lease. Those are going well. Self-storage as well. Conventional multi-family right now is a little difficult to raise for. There's not that much meat on the bone in terms of profit from the deals that I'm seeing. There are very few deals that are like, wow, this looks interesting. Whether it's because of the rates and the taxes and the insurance across the board that have gone up. That's my personal observation right now, what I'm seeing.
Yeah. How, working within that many different asset classes and operators, I guess, what are some of the common things you've seen across the more successful either asset classes or operators?
I find right now that if you have a good deal and you're a good operator, the money will come. I think it's really a deal by deal situation. So I think it boils down to the exact opportunity. So it doesn't matter I don't see any rules, whether it's asset or location. You can have, there are also a lot of deals now that are, if someone's getting a bargain, it's going to be a good deal. But most deals right now, like deals that sellers are offloading, unless they're reducing their price significantly, don't make sense. So I think it's if they're getting a bargain, if it's a solid opportunity, if there's great value add. Every deal has its own story. So I think it's a deal by deal situation.
What's your message to investors right now about, investing in projects that you have? Like, why should they invest right now?
That's a good question now, because it's hard to convince people to invest right now. I think people are still cautious. It's already 2 years like this since the rates started going up. People are still nervous, about the rates, the whole economy, the whole global situation, politics. There's so much going on in this world that people are a little nervous. But if there are investors out there that are still placing money, it's always evaluate the deal situation. You have to, obviously you want to bet on the jockey. You want to make sure the owner operator is of your liking and they know what they're doing. I think that's of utmost importance. And then, you want to underwrite the deal, go visit the deal, make sure it's a solid opportunity before placing any money.
What are some of the key partners that you've worked with for these just integrated services like you offer?
I do several things. We're also investors as well, but in that case, we partner with the same few individuals. We have a few different partners for different deals. I'm not sure if you're referring to that, but in terms of connecting individuals, I'm kind of just the matchmaker. Some deals I invest in myself, and I'm, a GP as well. But oftentimes I'm just the matchmaker. I connect the two individuals. If it's a co-GP JV opportunity. So It's not when it's LP. It's totally different situations with all the rules and stuff. Yeah, so if it's a co-GP JV, then I'm just connecting two operators that both have a say in the deal, and they're both equal decision makers on the opportunity.
And that comes from your massive network, right? That you've built and are so focused on, for sure. Do you track people in any way that's like, okay, I know this person's looking for this kind of deal or that guy, how do you keep up with things like that?
Okay, so I have my assistant, right? I take notes on every individual I speak with, and he converts that into my CRM. And yes, we have notes on everyone's criteria, what they invest in, their locations, what their preferred check sizes, et cetera. And then we play mix and match. But it is difficult because people's criteria keep on changing, especially nowadays.
What CRM are you using?
So we were using HubSpot. I know he changed to something else. I am so tech illiterate that I hired someone to take care of the whole CRM situation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you mentioned an assistant and speak to maybe how you all communicate and what that process looks like a little bit for him to or this person to document all this for you and keep track.
I'm also dealing in all assets of commercial real estate. So besides for the investor's criteria that keeps on changing, I'm all over the place. So it is difficult to kind of keep track of everything. I mean, it is a lot. I am all over the place, but I love it. But it's important that everything's organized to match different people's criteria. But it is challenging, but we do our best. How do we communicate? We're in touch all the time. My systems are sort of integrated with his computer. He's based in Florida, so he's not even local, but we're in touch the whole time, and we're sending out emails and messages and calls constantly. So whatever means it takes.
What are some things that he takes off your plate to help you to be more efficient and things like that?
Well, definitely the tech part, which is not my strong point, and also just sending out the documents. Like I don't like that. I like dealing with people. I like going over to people and asking them, calling them, finding out what they want to invest in. But the actual details, the paperwork, and all that, I leave for him. I know what I'm good at. I have to delegate. So,
how did you find him?
That's an interesting story. So I was actually, when I decided to start my fund, I was looking for somebody for a very, very long time. And I interviewed maybe 100 people, and I could not find any, someone that I was able to trust. I don't know, maybe it's that mother gut feeling in me. I figured I have to be able to totally trust that person in order to allow them to deal with my investors' money, because that's my responsibility. I take it very seriously. So I was calling and I put it out on LinkedIn and I was interviewing people. It turns out that my husband had a company, and for some reason that company dissolved due to changes in the legal system. And this individual that worked for him was suddenly available the day that I started my funds. So he didn't know anything about real estate or whatever. So I spent a lot of time and money training him, but I felt that it was worth it because I knew that I can trust him. So that's actually a vital piece of information, that if you feel like someone's trustworthy and they can work alongside you and they're committed and they can be a strong point for your company, sometimes it takes that extra money and time to train the individual. But for me, that was a worthy investment.
No doubt about it. I hear it all the time, Esther. I tell people, hey, you need an assistant. You need somebody helping you do some of these things, and they're like, oh, it probably won't work out, and I've wasted all that time. And I say, well, expect to hire 3 before you get it right,
Exactly.
And so you better get started.
Exactly. Yeah. And I paid for him to go to courses and to learn. So it's, it takes a lot of just time, but also money.
Yeah. It sounds like you found that person that you felt was trustworthy, right? And then you were willing to help them get the education or the skills that were going to benefit you and help them also.
Exactly.
Were there a couple courses you'd recommend for that? I've had questions about that as well, even for our team, and other people have asked me that.
So when people ask me, like, how do I learn about real estate? So there's so many aspects of real estate to learn, right? There's so many assets, so many different things you can do within real estate. You can be a broker, a buyer, an investor. You could be a lender. So it really depends on what you want to do. Once you figure out what you want to do, then you can go find a course of such.
What about training your assistant though? Like, how did you do that, or how did you get them trained?
So I'm trying to remember which course we went with. We went with a certain program, a local program. That was one thing. And
Okay.
then I signed, like a local thing for him that he was able to go and attend. And then I had set him up with some, like it was more of a debt program, just for him to learn the whole system. It gave like an overall background. I don't want to specifically, shout out the name because
Yeah, that's all right.
I didn't verify. They didn't sponsor me. Huh? I'm kidding. Yeah, that it worked for him. So
Yeah, that's great because oftentimes my team members that are doing different things. Let's say an assistant, or maybe they're in the marketing or whatever, marketing piece. They don't have a lot of knowledge on really what we do.
right.
And I could see that being very helpful, especially for an assistant. It's going to allow them to do so many more things for you. The more knowledgeable they are, about your space or the industry, that you're in general. So I don't hear that very often, as far as getting an assistant trained on, say, real estate in general, or, different parts of syndicating a deal.
Right. I also sent him to an underwriting course. There are so many programs and ways to learn about commercial real estate. So I always tell people, and there's a lot of free information online as well. So I always tell people, you check out the free information. There's so many videos and books out there, but always just double check who's writing it or talking. Like, just check their track record really quickly before you take their advice seriously. Because there's been people that talk and not necessarily do their actions match. So that's an important piece of advice. And there's also so many masterminds out there. I personally have not gone to a mastermind, so I can't, tell you if it's good or not. Just, I never felt like it could work with my schedule. Like, to be available Mondays at 12, like, just doesn't work for my life. And there's so many free videos out there. So if anyone wants to learn, just Google away, YouTube. So much out there.
There is so much out there. Esther, I get asked all the time, and love hearing from experts like yourself, what you predict, right, over the next 6, 12 months, and how that affects, what you're doing.
That's a good one. Wish I had the crystal ball. I think it's going to get messier before it picks up again. I also really think it depends politically, who's going to win. Which, I think that will affect a lot of stuff. So we'll wait and see over there. There's also just like so much instability in the world. So I think it's going to have to do with elections and politics. But I do also think it's going to get a little worse before it gets better. I think there are going to be some more bank failures. I believe so. And there is going to be more properties pouring into the market. There are going to be more things coming on. People might be losing more keys, but hopefully then there'll be more opportunity.
What's your best source for meeting new investors right now?
I talk all day. So whether it's on the phone, on Zoom, at meetups, all over the place. So I always say that anyone is my potential client, because whether they're putting money as a co-GP, whether they're a big investor, or they're a small investor that has some other job that could potentially put some money into my fund when I restart that, they're an investor as well. So to me, I look as everyone as a potential investor. I did have friends that are in other industries that invested with me because they wanted passive income. So it doesn't necessarily have to be someone that's specifically a real estate investor that has to be your investor. It could be just, you never know who's going to eventually invest with you.
What's your best advice for passive investors today?
do a lot of research, ask a lot of questions. In the past, people would not ask, let's say, about the debt of the deal. They were looking more at the returns, but now people are asking more questions. What type of debt? How long? Is it floating? Is it steady? You want to see the sponsor's track record, dig into their track record. Don't be shy to ask, because we're seeing so much corruption come up to the surface that it's important to ask all those questions and to get all the answers you can. So do your due diligence.
What's your biggest challenge you're facing in your business right now?
I need more investors. More investors come forward.
Yeah, that all of us. What about what's the most important metric that you track? It could be personally or professionally.
That's a good one. Besides for my weight, I'm kidding. I don't track. I was just kidding. I don't track my weight. What's a metric that I track? That's a really good question. So I don't really. So when people ask me, what's your goal, or how do you see yourself in 5 years? I don't necessarily have a specific metric or goal. I try to more work hard, and I try to enjoy the process. It's been a little difficult to do that lately because, there's so many ups and downs in the business. Like I tell you, I've worked on several deals in the last few months that have fallen through at the very last minute. Mm-hmm. So one deal I worked on for 9 months. So I don't know what metric I track. I really don't know.
That's all right. Different people have different things they're focused on.
I just try to work on my personal self, and then, exercise every day, eat well, take care of my kids, and then work hard. And then the rest is up to God. That's all I can do.
If you can run a business and be the mother of that many children and still exercise and eat well, you have a great routine for sure. What about, what would you say is the number one thing that's contributed to your success?
That's a good question. Number one thing that's contributed to my success. I do have a very supportive spouse. My husband is really helpful. So I got to give him a lot of credit for what I do, because he never asked me to work. I enjoy this. I started this as a hobby, like I said. And then I took it on, and it continued to float. But it's not always easy for the family. So, sometimes he'll pitch in. If I have a meeting, he'll go get the kids from school, or he'll help with dinner or get them up in the morning. So I got to give him the credit.
No, that's awesome. Yeah, that's great. I definitely would not have been able to have a business if it wasn't for a supportive spouse.
Yes.
No doubt about it. Esther, how do you like to give back?
I like to give back, whether it's financially, which thank God I've been blessed to do, and I hope to continue many times more. I always feel like, the more I have, the more I can give. Unfortunately, there are no shortage of organizations that are in need. Just so many people in my community that just don't have money for food. Special needs individuals. I help over there because I worked with those individuals in the past as a speech language pathologist. We opened a soup kitchen here to help individuals. There's so many organizations that we're involved with financially, and then just wherever I can to give my time. And I like to take my kids along sometimes just to show them, what things are like. And sometimes I'm like, you guys are really spoiled. Come see what everyone else is doing. So I got involved. I got involved in there's this guy that does Super Bowl parties for the homeless. So I take my kids there and I help out. We set up and interact with people. I try to get my kids involved. Charity's a big talk in our household, because we strongly believe that actually also helped us gain success. I really, truly believe. If you ask me what's a metric or something that helped me become successful, I think charity would be another answer. When you give, God gives you back. So it's important to give. And I also like to come on podcasts and share my knowledge, or just help in whichever way I can. I tell people, if you have any questions, reach out. So long as I have time in my day, I'm happy to help. So I like giving back.
Love how you incorporate your children in the community work, all right, or getting them involved in that way. We have tried to do that as well, and we were helping a local nonprofit for a while that just deliver food in some pretty rough parts of town, and it just brings up a lot of great discussion, with the kids. And hey, not everybody lives like you do. I mean, most people do not, and exactly. It's just a reality check. Right. So no, that's incredible. I appreciate your focus there in such a big way. Well, Esther, grateful for how you've given back to us today in many ways as well, in your networking abilities to raising money and everything in between, managing a busy household as a busy mother and a successful business at the same time. So how can the listeners get in touch with you and learn more about you?
On LinkedIn, as we discussed, I'm pretty active over there. I am on Instagram, Esther Rises Lowenbein or Esty Lowenbein. I go by all names. Call me either one. It's a mess, don't ask. But I'm also on Twitter, and I'm trying to gain following. So connect with me there as well. I look forward to connecting with you back.
Awesome. That's a wrap. That's the end of the show, Esther. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Yeah. Appreciate you. Great to connect again. And is there any way I can add value to you?
Thank you so much. That's kind. I don't know. Let's interact on social media, help each other's business. What are you up to these days?
Slow.
Yeah.
So, yeah, we are. I mean, we've closed one portfolio of multifamily in the last 24 months. So it's been really slow. But looking back, I'm thankful we haven't bought more.
Right.
Right. I'm so grateful. And I mean, there's a small project that we may have a contract on in maybe the next 7 to 14 days. It's really close to another asset that we own. And but yeah, other than that, it's really slow.
It's been really difficult, and people don't realize that it's just a difficult market. I know there are a lot of people in the industry that are leaving the industry because the brokers, because there's very little business to be done. I had 7 deals fall through in the last few months. Only one went through as a broker in the last few months, and we also only bought one deal in the last 24 months. And that deal, we're only a partner on that one. Yes, it's been very difficult. We bought in a year and a half, we bought 13 or so large deals, and then it went to one small deal, or we're a small partner in 24 months.
Yeah,
so
that's us.
I didn't. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I mean, we're also pivoting out of real estate. I don't want to say that on your show because you're real estate related. But we are going into more businesses.
To buying businesses or?
Yeah, investing in businesses. And I actually started brokering some businesses too. And just trying to, invest in businesses, because real estate, the deals aren't making sense nowadays, most of them. So, I mean, I am working with a few large investors that are still transacting. I'm trying to find their criteria, but until a deal goes through, it's the soul comes out.
Yeah. What's the criteria you're looking for real estate, or if you're doing any multifamily? That's pretty much our main focus.
Yeah. No, we have not bought multifamily. I do own multifamily because I've raised. So I own that way, but I'm not the lead. I'm not the lead sponsor on those, but we own office, industrial, retail.
Okay.
So that's been our focus. But we are opportunistic. If we find a good deal, we'll go for it. But what I'm really looking for now are HUD deals, project-based affordable housing deals.
Yeah.
Or any deal with a government lease. So
okay.
We're very focused on those. But now my husband's very focused on businesses, because real estate's.
Yeah. Yeah. It's hard time. Real estate. No doubt about it.
And it's just so silly. I feel like they're digging their own grave. With just lower the rates, get more business going. They're doing it to themselves. I don't know. It just doesn't make sense to me. But I guess we'll see. We'll see what happens.
We are hopeful that there'll be a couple cuts here in the next at least 3 to 6 months.
You think so?
I hope. I don't know so, but I'm hopeful.
I hope so. Yeah.
Yeah, they were talking about it, but I don't know if that will actually happen or not. You know?
Yeah, they spoke. They said it already several times. So
Yeah.
you never know
I
what they're actually. And then you hear that President Biden and the Fed person haven't met for 2 years. Like there's just such a mess in this country
It is.
that
It is a mess.
they didn't meet for 2 years. Like, hello,
How does
the
that
economy, crazy. So
Leader of the free world and
free world. So there's a big, it's a disaster. So let's hope for political stability coming up.
That's right.
We're hoping. We're hoping there's no election fraud over there. And I think that's going to be the biggest game changer. I still think that even if someone comes in and stabilizes, I think there's still going to be some unrest.
Yeah.
I see more banks. I know more banks are going down. So I think it's going to be a mess. But then there's going to be a lot of opportunity for those that have cash and those that are efficient and those that know how to operate. I do think that there's going to be some opportunity there.
I agree. Well, thank you again. I'm grateful for your time and happy to stay in touch, or if I can help you in any way.
My pleasure.
To connect again.
Thank you. Same here. If I could help in any way, let me know.
Okay, Esther. Well, great to connect again. Have a blessed day.
You too. Thank you.
Okay, bye.
Bye-bye.